Hi, so this is going to be the first interactive video that I've done for the chemistry class. So I'm going to take this balloon here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub it on my head, and this is going to generate static electricity. It's going to generate a negative charge for the balloon. A negative charge means that there are going to be more electrons than protons, and this means that the balloon, when held over this plate of salt and pepper, which I have here, a good mix, is going to attract one of the things I have here, either salt or pepper, or maybe both. So once I got a good charge built up here, we will hold it over the plate. And see what happens. So, this is interesting. I only have, I don't know if you can see it. Oop, there it is. It looks like the balloon only picked up the pepper. It looks like there's no salt on this balloon. Or if there is, it's very, very, very light. Now, what I think, this is interesting because this was not actually what I expected to happen. I had a hypothesis that both the pepper and the salt would be picked up. So what's happening here is that the negative charge of the balloon is basically repelling the electrons of the salt and pepper, which ends up polarizing the salt and pepper. It makes it the positive ends of the salt and pepper attracted to the negative charge of the balloon, which means that they will be picked up by the balloon when it is passed over them. However, I thought that the salt and the pepper, which do not have a negative charge, which have a positive charge, which lets them be polarized, I thought they both would be picked up by the balloon, not just the pepper. So I believe the reason that this is happening, why it's just pepper on this balloon and not the salt, is because the salt that I have here is a thicker salt. The crystals are thicker, therefore it is heavier than the pepper. So the pepper is very fine, very light, and so when I passed over the balloon, it was much easier for the pepper to be lifted up onto the balloon rather than the salt. But I do believe that the salt should also be attracted to the balloon because table salt is sodium chloride, and sodium chloride is an ionic compound. It has a cation, a positively charged sodium ion, and it has an anion, a negatively charged chlorine ion. And as an ionic compound, that means it has charge, and therefore it's possible for it to be polarized. It's possible for it to be attracted to the negative charge of this balloon. So I expected to see salt as well on this balloon for that reason, but, well, I can't really pick up anymore. The charge has gone off, but I only see pepper on this balloon. So I'm not really sure why that would be, except for that the salt is too heavy to get picked up by the balloon, because as we know the charge of the sodium and the chlorine that make up the salt, then we should be able to say whether or not it would be attracted to this balloon. So that's a very interesting thing to observe. I do wonder if I do this experiment again, if I rub the balloon for more time, if that will generate more static electricity, which would therefore be able to pick up the salt if it was stronger. So that would be an interesting thing to test in a future experiment to see if that was something that could work. Oops. Actually, I do have another balloon here. Why don't we give that a shot? Let's rub it really well on my head and see if I can't pick up some of this salt. Because when doing experiments, there are different things that you want to test. and see what happens. What are the results? All right, so I think that's pretty good. So I hear a very strong sound, which I think means a lot is getting picked up. And let's see what I got here. And, well, there is something, a little bit of white bits, or maybe that's just the pepper itself. But it does look like it's still mostly pepper, even though I generated a lot of static electricity by rubbing it on my head. So yeah, maybe that is always going to be the result of when you do this experiment. The pepper comes up, the salt does not, and it does that because it is attracted to the negative charge of the balloon, but I believe the salt should be attracted as well.